Yeah, in the Rutgers game, I think we were just trying to get in some quality minutes to continue our fitness here early in the season and to execute a little bit more on some of the sharpness and details, tactical details. So it wound up being a really good exercise, and I think we used last week in a really good way.
I'm sure you've looked over, some of the things that you can get better at. Is it simply just shaking the rust off and being sharper?
No, I mean, I think in some ways we've made some big mistakes that have cost us goals in games, which then challenges everything that we do from a tactical perspective and a mentality perspective. And so when you put it to the test early in the year, it can be painful at times because it means you're on the wrong side of results. But that being said, I think the second half of Houston and the response that we had to get back in that game, and even when we went down again, to stick with it, was really good. And I think that can be I described it as a monumental moment after the game, and I think it still holds that way. So the past 10 days have been very good in training, and it'll be time to put it to the test again in New England, which we know is a really tough place to play.
How about all the injuries? You had said maybe there was some optimism for Ronald Zubar. Saw him out there doing some individual work, probably a week too soon.
Yeah, probably the New England game is a week too soon. Especially, we want to be cautious because we put Gonzalo in a situation to re-injure himself. So, on that front, we're continuing to try to evaluate here what we do. Everything from what the training loads are to how we use the gym, yoga, everything. So, ultimately it's my responsibility to make sure that these guys are strong, fit, and healthy. And when we have 3 hamstrings in one game, I certainly am not happy with myself that I put 3 guys in position to pick up those kinds of injuries. So, we're always trying to manipulate what we do here physically to make sure that our guys, when it come game day, are ready to perform at the highest level. So we'll continue to do that.
Can you give us an update on those 3 guys? And we also saw Damien out there too. I know he was out a little bit last week, so that's good progress.
Yeah, Damien's moving along pretty well. All 3 are still not quite ready yet, but getting close and making progress every day. So I would expect them to not be available for New England, but from then on in, I think it'll be a day-to-day kind of situation.
You've had Mo Bukugu in about a week now and on trial. Do you see him as someone that can maybe fill in New England? I know it's been quite a quick turnaround.
Yeah, no, we're not going to rush on that. We're evaluating him and seeing how he can adjust to the way we play, and if it's possible that he's a good fit here. And I think he's done fairly well. So, we're not ready to make that decision quite yet. But I will say it's been an encouraging week, or whatever. Yeah, about a week, about 7 days for him. So, we're not, like I said, we're not ready to make a decision yet. But so far, it's been good.
You talked about, last year, it didn't matter whether it was on a road or home, you want to play your style. Is that something this week going to New England you want to see from this team this year?
Yeah, we're going to go after it. New England's never an easy place to play. So as much as it's about tactically doing certain things, it's about being up for the challenge, I think. And New England's very good at home. They compete there really well. They know what that field's about. Often you have the weather and conditions to deal with. So on all levels, I think as much as this is a commitment to the tactics and how we play, it's a mentality game and making sure that, New England, there's a long history between New England and New York and that's a good team and that we haven't had a lot of success there in our history. So it'll be a big challenge.
Kamar, you alluded to it after the game that you thought about him as a center back and he moved into the middle. He looked really comfortable.
Yeah.
He's verbally directing people around him, and so is that still a solid thought?
Yeah, it is. We think that he has the skill set to play that position effectively. The biggest challenge right now is that we haven't had a real chance to work on it because he's been with Jamaica, and I know that's even been physically taxing with the game that he had against Costa Rica, the travel. So he's been in contact. Him and I have been texting back and forth, and first things first for him is to try and take care of business tonight down there. It's a big dream of his to get to the World Cup, and I thought he had a great game in Jamaica against Costa Rica, and I expect him to play well again. And then when he gets back here on Wednesday, we'll have to evaluate how he's feeling physically and make a decision for Friday.
Not sure how. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Glenn.
Well, while we were on qualifying, So, since I met you last year, I mean, probably one of the more consistent things you've talked about is that your players understand their roles, and that's why you feel like a big part of your success. Landon Donovan was on the air today, and he said he talks to a lot of the players, and one of the things that alarms him is that they go into games not knowing their roles.
Yeah.
When you observe the U.S. play, is that the feeling you get as well?
Well, I will say that when you play in difficult places, okay, and certainly as much as we may consider countries like Guatemala and El Salvador and some of these other Central American countries, smaller developed football nations compared to us, those are not easy places to play. And so when you're in a tough environment and when you're in tough moments in games, and that's the sport, that's sports in general, certainly having relationships on the field that you can rely on are extremely important. If Landon says he talks to the players and that's the case, you can see some levels of uncertainty on the field from the players, and I don't know where that comes from. I'm not here to judge that, but it is unfortunate to see us in that situation not play at our best and not perform at our best when there's a lot on the line. So that being said, I would expect a huge response from the team tonight. I think in all ways, at any moment, one of the hallmarks of U.S. teams over the years has been that when things get really tough or when they need a big result, that they're usually up for the challenge. So I think tonight will be as big a measure of what the team is as any. So if people were judging a lot the performance down in Guatemala, I think tonight will be a real good indicator as exactly what this is.
Take one more.
Speaking of internationals, I saw it on Twitter, so it must be true. Anatola Bong supposedly started today against South Africa. Did you see any of that? Did you hear that? And impressions of the,
No, we've heard that. We've gotten word that he's starting. The game may be ongoing, actually. Great for a Bong. I mean, he's a young man. He doesn't look like it, but he is. He's a young man, and for him to have this kind of experience and this kind of opportunity, I think will do wonders for him in his personal development. So we'll be anxious to watch him and root him on, and I'm not sure if they'll use him outright like they did last game or if they play him up high, but he's always a handful. Anytime he steps on the field, he's physically a handful, and he can make plays. So hopefully he has a great game and helps him get a big win.